back. Let's get you the latest from Germany, where the nationwide lockdown has been extended until the end of the month and tougher new restrictions have been introduced in an effort to curb the surging coronavirus infections. Germany is also facing criticism that it has failed to procure enough vaccine doses to speed up the nationwide campaign. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by DW reporter Thomas Sparrow, who joins us from Berlin. Thomas, first and foremost, what are these new measures that have been announced under the extended lockdown?
Well, essentially, Germany's lockdown, which has been in place since mid-December, is now being extended until the end of January. And this means that all non-essential shops, restaurants, bars, museums will have to remain closed. Schools and daycare will also have to remain shut. And this was, by the way, a very controversial point in the discussions that led to the extension. But it's not only about extending current measures, it's also about tightening them. People will now only be allowed to privately meet one person outside of their household, and for areas that are particularly hard hit, people will only be able to move 15 kilometers from their place of residence. The federal and regional governments here in Germany consider these measures necessary, and they have also asked citizens to be very disciplined. But at the same time, the new restrictions have been received with certain skepticism, especially with many people asking how exactly they are going to be enforced.
What exactly went wrong? Germany, after all, during the first wave of the pandemic was seen as a good example of how to deal with the virus.
Well, Germany indeed fared comparatively well during the first wave, but the second one has hit the country hard. Just to give you one example, it was reported that more people died of coronavirus here in December than between March and November. And the measures imposed nationally and regionally have simply not been enough to reduce numbers considerably and achieve the goal of 50 new infections per 100,000 inhabitants in a 7-day period. So this explains why measures were tightened even during the Christmas period. But a caveat is here important. The second wave is affecting most European countries very hard, not only Germany. So this also has to be understood in a broader perspective as a problem that European leaders are also trying to resolve together, for example, through a common approach towards the procurement of vaccines.
Right, and speaking about the vaccines, the rollout has begun in Germany. So how is it going?
There is a growing debate here in Germany about the way the vaccine is being rolled out in the country. The vaccine, and this is important to stress, was mostly procured at a European level, and it is being distributed to the different EU member states. The German government has defended this approach, and it has stressed the importance of working together with other countries to tackle a global challenge. But some of Germany's regions have criticized that the rollout process has been too slow and that they are not receiving enough doses. For some, it's especially difficult to understand how there have been procurement or distribution issues for a vaccine which was in part developed right here in Germany. And moreover, some are also skeptical of the effects of a vaccine which was developed very quickly. But in general terms, the vaccination program has been met with hope as the beginning of the end of the pandemic. And in fact, more than 300,000 people have already received the first dose right here in Germany.